Hello, everyone. Welcome to Love and Life, a channel that shares knowledge for holistic self-development through great books. Looking back over the recent period, I know you've had it hard. Endless work, evening classes, social activities you can't avoid, and countless moments of frustration and heartache. You've lost track of how many times you've complained that the job is exhausting, that you're fed up and think, I don't want to do this anymore. You know very well you don't like this work, but next month's food, the following month's rent, an elderly mother, small children, reasons like these don't allow you to quit. Out there you hear encouraging voices saying, go chase your dreams, do what you love. In the moment, we feel brimming with motivation. But right after that comes a fog of uncertainty because many people still don't truly know what they like to do, nor whether a supposed dream is really worth pursuing. So when faced with a job they don't like, not a few people clock in, swipe the card, wait for quitting time. There's no need to give it their all. Just do the bare minimum and wait for payday. Days repeating like that leave you tired, bored, even miserable. The truth is, life is very short. Yet not every one of us can pursue our dreams. There are too many obstacles and worries that make life feel dull and meaningless. So what should we do to get rid of this boredom? How can an ordinary person make life feel valuable? How can we experience a life worth living? For this most difficult question in life, a 90-year-old woman offered an answer. She is Ms. Nakamura Tsuneko, the author of the book I want to share with you today. Human Life is Worth It. In Japanese, the original title roughly translates to Habits to Reconcile with the Heart and Do Everything Well. Nakamura Tsuneko is recorded as the oldest practicing psychologist in Japanese history. Born in 1929, this elderly lady worked diligently for 75 years, and even at 90 had no intention of stopping. She wasn't a professor and had never published any academic papers. In truth, she was very ordinary. By many people's standards, she might not have had the credentials to publish a book, nor any particular need to. And if an ordinary person writes a book, the content might seem like chicken soup for the soul. Honestly, before reading this book, I had my doubts too. But after reading it, I was deeply surprised because I realized how much practical life wisdom I could learn from Ms. Nakamura, an old woman who had lived through the smoke of war and sweeping changes of the times, a person who could see clearly through many things in life. Though she struggled and hustled for more than 90 years, she remained full of youthful vitality and could finally say, even if I die, I have no regrets. Human Life is Worth It reads like a small philosophy of living, written from 95 years of life experience. It offers sincere advice about work, relationships, and happiness, helping guide you through life's difficult phases and eventually helping you realize that no matter what, you can absolutely live a worthwhile, meaningful life. Working for money is natural. There's nothing shameful about it. There's an old saying, people die for money, birds die for bait. Yet whether the attitude of working for money leads to negative or positive results truly depends on how we think about it. Ms. Nakamura was born in rural Japan in a family of 5 siblings. Her father was an ordinary elementary school teacher. Because there were many children, not everyone could go to university. And as in many families where she lived, parental favoritism and indulgence tended to go to the sons. As a daughter, she didn't even have the right to choose her own life path. At 16, she faced two options: marry or fend for herself. At the time, Japan had a severe shortage of psychologists. An uncle who ran a clinic in Osaka said he would cover all schooling costs for anyone who wanted to become a doctor. For Ms. Nakamura, this was a chance to study without having to enter the workforce early. So she decided to leave her hometown for Osaka. She passed the university exam, finished her studies, and became a clinician. From her own path, we can see that becoming a psychologist wasn't about interest or passion. She simply couldn't refuse the opportunity life handed her. Deep down, she didn't like the work, but she had to keep going to feed herself and her family. And besides, if she didn't practice psychology, she didn't know what else she could do. For that reason, her heart was full of conflict and pain. By contrast, her two younger brothers led smoother lives. They received parental support, did work they loved, and earned high salaries. Faced with two such different life trajectories, she felt both resentful and helpless. In reality, many of us are in similar circumstances. We don't like our jobs, but must rely on the paycheck to survive. Not everyone graduating from high school or college knows what they truly want. We struggle through job hunting, finally get hired, only to discover the work doesn't suit us. No job is perfect. Every job comes with unavoidable pressures. To secure a single order, you may have to smile, bow, nod, and try your best to deal with the most difficult customers. To keep a full-time job, you throw yourself into the morning rush in sun or rain and dare not miss a day even when sick. Every job has parts that don't make us happy. However, when pushed to an extreme, people can suddenly feel lighter. Not long after, Miss Nakamura had an awakening. If you keep thinking, "What is the purpose of my work?" you will become discouraged and miserable. Better to tell yourself plainly, "I'm working to earn money to live." Working for money is not a bad thing. It is completely natural. Over more than 75 years in counseling, she heard countless complaints from patients. They were dejected and exhausted by their current jobs, but they didn't realize that what made work so painful was that they had misunderstood the very nature of work from the start. She says that whatever the job, at bottom people work in order to live. In other words, to support themselves and their families is the primary core objective. You know this. We spend more than half our lives working. If your expectations are too high or your thoughts too heavy, you will easily fall into disappointment and anxiety. When we are bound by things like salary, status, reputation, and recognition, we become obsessed with others' opinions, tones, and looks, fixated on anything that makes us uncomfortable or dissatisfied. In time, you will feel suffocated and burned out. If that state lasts for a decade or more, sooner or later, work will erode you and drown you in suffering. Her advice? Don't place too many expectations on your job. Whether you're new or long-tenured, don't overthink the tasks your boss assigns. Just try to do them well first. When you frown and think, "This job doesn't suit me," no matter who you are, that only increases anxiety and makes you want to quit. Instead, for any assignment, maintain a try-it mindset. Don't rush to give up. Take it as a chance to temper yourself. Even if you can't love your job, at least remove thoughts of hating it from your head and strive to do your best. Until age 88, Ms. Nakamura worked 6 days a week and stayed busy every day. Seeing that, many assumed she loved her work. In fact, it wasn't so. In her 20s, she worked to feed herself. After marriage, work became the foundation that supported family life, so she insisted on continuing. She spent decades with that mindset, day after day, and work became part of her. It allowed her to move gently with the current and let life unfold in its own way. To her, being tired because you haven't found the right job is unnecessary, because the odds of finding work you love in a lifetime are about the same as winning the lottery. Instead of worrying that you haven't found the ideal job yet, it's better to work diligently at what you have now. And perhaps, one day, you'll find something you like more. In essence, whether life becomes worthwhile or dull depends entirely on whether you can reconcile with yourself. When fate leaves no other choice, gently accept it. Find joy in your work and a sense of enthusiasm for your profession. Remember, we don't work to seek recognition. Work is simply a way to earn money so we can continue experiencing life. When you're 78, 80, or older, you'll realize that wins and losses, glory and decline are just clouds passing by. They do not represent your value. There are more important things: family, health, your inner life. Having food and clothing, a roof over your head, and work to support yourself, such a life is already enough. Go to work, focus on doing the task at hand as best you can, and contribute to those around you without craving acknowledgement. You may be pleasantly surprised by what awaits you further down the road. Sometimes, though, you must leave decisively. In reality, many people strain themselves to maintain the status quo. I'm not young anymore. If I quit now, what about my elderly mother and little kids? What will the company's environment and benefits be like next? Can I find a better job? The moment such thoughts arise, the decision to resign gets shelved. Ms. Nakamura advises, if there's no way to change things, then gladly do your work and give it your best. But if you are truly exhausted and have the to choose, then be decisive and go. Among her patients were some bullied at work, some harassed by superiors, some who had no time to sleep and worked past midnight. Astonishingly, even when physically and mentally depleted, they refused to resign. If the work environment makes you deeply miserable and your health is declining, don't hesitate. Stop in time. After all, the essence of work is to make a living. Companies and institutions are tools for people to earn money. If a tool binds your precious life too tightly, it isn't worth wasting your time on it. That said, let me stress what I've said in other videos. Many encourage you to chase your dreams and do what you love, but don't rush headlong on impulse. The time to choose freely is when you've prepared fully and are ready to accept all the consequences of your decision. If you quit without knowing how you'll eat next month or which income will cover rent, if you leave to open your own shop but have no capital and must borrow at interest, then you are not prepared. As the book Side Hustle points out, a way not to let your job become chains around your life is to run yourself like a company. Don't abruptly abandon your main job. From a business perspective, that's dangerous. A company can't rely on only one product for income. Typically, one stable revenue stream is used to develop others. Do the same for yourself. Your salary is the stable revenue of your company. Take good care of it, then use that stability to develop a second income stream or save capital, so that in the future, you have time and means to pursue other work. So, courageously breaking free of a fixed job can be a driver of change, but you must be prepared and responsible before deciding. Otherwise, accept the present gladly. Any honest work can earn money. No job by itself has to exhaust you. The only thing that truly breaks you is your own mind. Don't live with your body locked in a constant clench. Relax and go with the natural flow. In swimming competitions, crowds often shout, "Push harder." People assume that if you throw all your strength forward, you can overpower the resistance of water and reach the far bank faster. But dynamics shows the harder you fight, the slower you go. Water gives back exactly the force you put into it. Life is like a river. The more gently you relax, the more easily you can move forward. In Life Doesn't Need Such Straining by Yuki Takahashi, there's a line that rings true. There are two common regrets in life. One is not doing what you could have done. The other is having pushed too hard. Effort is a necessary condition for success, but when you overstrain, it backfires. Read this book, and you'll see the author lives with a marvelous degree of ease. That gentle, go-with-the-flow approach allowed her to experience more than 95 years of a life worth living. So how do we glide with life's current without clenching, yet still keep moving forward? The author says, first, throw away needless baggage with your own hands. For Ms. Nakamura, the baggage that weighs you down and makes every step hard is expectation. The first piece to discard is excessive expectations of yourself. Others can do it, so I must too. I must succeed to make my family proud. The deep reason you strain to meet those self-imposed expectations is that you idolize someone else's life or keep comparing yourself to others. When we're young, setting expectations to motivate hard work isn't bad. But as we mature, we need to understand ourselves and gradually let go of the thought, I want more and more. Whether an advancing life or a simple one, whether with children or single, if you're always comparing, there is no right answer. As a psychologist, Ms. Nakamura saw many patients whose outward lives were enviable, but who hid unspoken pain. A company owner was thriving in business, yet physically and mentally exhausted, beset by relationship problems and profound loneliness. A young, beautiful woman with a capable husband and well-behaved children lost friendships due to envy and developed insomnia. Another woman married into a wealthy family but suffered in the mother-in-law relationship. From decades of contact with varied lives, she realized, the more prosperous and successful someone appears, the more complex interpersonal pressures they often bear. Life's troubles don't disappear as money and status increase. So instead of admiring others and forcing yourself, I must have this and that, and then falling into anxiety and misery, it's better to accept your current circumstances and keep moving forward optimistically at your own rhythm. Other people have their lives. You have your own trajectory. In over 75 years of work, she never compared herself with anyone. She didn't care if a younger doctor had a higher title, nor feel resentful if a colleague treated patients better. She believed satisfaction in life isn't decided by outsiders, and she never chased a life that belonged to someone else. Only then can we live a life that is truly our own. As The Courage to Be Disliked says, it doesn't matter who goes first or last. In truth, we're all walking a road without a vertical axis. We keep moving forward, but we're not in a race. Value lies in continually surpassing our former selves. When someone truly lives by their own values, not because they idolize others and force themselves to meet some expectation, then even if they shine only like a small firefly, illuminating a tiny corner, that life is already precious. Besides expectations of yourself, the second baggage to discard is expectations of others. If only my parents treated me better. Why won't my child listen? Why does he always act like that? Longings like these become a tangled mess in your mind. At 27, the author married through a matchmaker, but later discovered her husband was an alcoholic. Whatever he earned, he spent on himself. She had to shoulder the family alone. In her era, divorce was rare, and children of divorced parents were criticized. For the sake of her children's happiness and her own physical and mental health, she had no choice but to adjust her mindset. She lowered her expectations of her husband to a single baseline. If they could stand together and give speeches at their children's weddings, that was enough to remain husband and wife. With that goal set, she could finally relax. From her, you'll see the difference between patience and mere endurance. She said life often requires patience. If you understand this, you won't grit your teeth and bear it. You'll think about how to make yourself more comfortable. When her second son turned 5, she returned to hospital work and asked her parents to help with childcare. But once they took over the household, a wave of issues arose. They insisted on deciding how to raise the grandchildren and even moved Ms. Nakamura's university-aged brother into the home. Conflicts with her parents flared repeatedly. Overwhelmed at work and at home, anyone would collapse if they demanded perfection. So she lowered expectations of others and set boundaries for herself. In the worst case, aim for a bit above average, and that's enough. She didn't demand perfect child rearing, didn't expect extraordinary career achievements, didn't insist her parents and husband get along. Reaching just over average would do, the rest she left to nature. Eventually, that difficult period passed. Professionally, she became an excellent psychologist, and her children grew up well. Later, as the children married and had their own kids, her husband mellowed with age and became a kind grandfather. We all wish for marital harmony, happy families, tasty meals, and calm seasons. But ordinary life is often shaky and chaotic. Facing reality, we can't fight it head-on. We can only let things flow by lowering expectations of others and not making life hard for ourselves or the people around us. There's a worldly rule. Aim for the top and you might reach the middle. Aim for the middle and you may end up below. Aim below and you may get nothing. When things don't meet your hopes, greed, anger, and delusion flare up. Therefore, stop over-asking and over-expecting. Don't indulge the fantasy that people and events will always follow your will. This is the wisdom of living a worthwhile life, and to more easily put down that burden called expectation, the best way is to live with low desire and welcome solitude. Ms. Nakamura pursued nothing beyond life's basics. She dressed neat and proper, wore no luxury brands or sparkling accessories, didn't chase gourmet food, and had little urge to shop. She said, "If you and your family are healthy and energetic, and you have a close friend to talk with, you don't need anything more luxurious." After all these years, she saw clearly that there is no environment and no person who can satisfy you 100%. Even if you enter what you think is the ideal workplace, with time, there will be things that discourage you. Even if you marry someone you consider perfect, there will later be things hard to accept. In reality, whether parents, family, friends, or lovers, others won't always care for us. Even a child you love with all your heart will grow up and start an independent life. Even someone you've poured yourself into loving can leave you. So, for everyone you meet in this world, the best way to get along is, when they come, be glad. When they go, let go. 6 Lectures on Solitude teaches that loneliness is the beginning of a complete life. Without the experience of being alone, you won't know how to harmonize with others. Forcing yourself to throw away baggage can feel unsafe and frightening in its aloneness. But when you accept solitude, you won't expect too much from others. With fewer desires, you won't bother comparing yourself with the world. In this way, your life will be less chained, and you can live freely, at peace with yourself and those around you. Whatever happens, it's all worthwhile. One line from this book stayed with me. Life is a journey that only goes forward and never returns, so be grateful for every scene you see along the way. This is also a life lesson I've drawn from many years: gratitude for all that comes and goes. When you carry gratitude, no matter how hard or boring your job is, you cherish each moment. You're thankful that at least this stable work allows you to keep living. With gratitude, you grow more trusting and sensitive to the warm, faint lights in life. As Haruki Murakami wrote, remember those who held an umbrella over you in a downpour, those who silently hugged you in the dark, those who made you laugh, those who chatted with you all night. Whether they were loved ones or strangers, you'll remember what they did for you, their presence and efforts that helped you continue experiencing this life. Whether what you receive is bitter or sweet, you'll no longer brood over gains and losses. When asked to do small, unreasonable tasks at work, just try to do the job at hand well and contribute to those around you. Become a reliable person at work and in life, and you'll see the truth of what the English writer John Ruskin said. Doing your utmost for others is, in the end, the best thing for yourself. That said, pay attention. Be proactive in taking on work, not in people-pleasing. Sometimes you must recognize whether you're helping someone to get something in return and learn to refuse at the right time. Finally, when you live with gratitude, you'll stop sighing at difficulties and even thank them for honing your will. Miss Nakamura believes everything has 2 sides. Painful experiences expand the essence of who we are. Like muscles, our way of living needs training and extension. Life's rewards won't appear immediately, but in every moment there is something to treasure. Be grateful for life. Don't set demands upon it. Then, no matter what happens, you will find the world is worth it and that we are living a life worth living. Thank you for listening. If you found this video useful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to give it a like, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell to catch our newest videos each week. Once again, thank you, and see you in the next video.